It is Wednesday night, September 22nd, 2021, and you're listening or watching a brand new episode of the Kicking Out Podcast. I'm Tanner Lee, along with my co-host Paul Zartman. Man,
How's it
Paul,
going?
we've seen Andre Agassi over the years, Pete Sampras, Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer, all compete at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Tonight, two gentlemen, Brian Danielson making his AEW in-ring debut, and Kenny Omega proving why they are two of the best professional wrestlers in the entire world.
You know, I don't like to use this phrase very often because another company kind of overused it, but that was an instant classic.
Instant classic. It was. Now, my question to you: best match in Dynamite history so far?
Oof. Yeah, probably. With a time limit draw, yes.
Was that only the second time limit draw we've seen in AEW history?
Yes.
The other one being Moxley and Pac.
Right. We did see a couple other ones where it was, oh, you can't last 10 minutes in the ring with me, so we got a countdown clock, but actual full time limit matches, yeah, this is one of two.
Yeah, that was instant classic, and it's kind of funny. I feel stupid. I didn't even think that was a possibility.
I honestly didn't either until, we were about halfway through the match, about 15 minutes in. I went, they're going to go time limit, aren't they?
Oh, it makes perfect sense for the story they're trying to tell. I mean, I was going back and forth who should win in my mind.
Yeah,
so I don't like the champion to lose non-title matches. I think that makes them look weak. But I don't want Brian Danielson to lose his first debuting match. So I was going back and forth. So I think a time limit draw makes perfect sense. Run it back.
Absolutely.
Run it back at full gear, in my opinion. I know Kenny tweeted that not a rematch is not happening, but I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it will once Brian Danielson becomes number one contender.
Yep.
They've got to at that point.
Yep. But can we talk about Brian Danielson a little bit? No ring rust on that guy whatsoever.
No, that dude was solid.
I mean, I didn't expect anything less, but, last week I made the comment of, can this match live up to the hype? It lived up to the hype.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't an arm wrestling match like we saw the last time these two went one-on-one.
No, it was not the match they had back in 2009, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Fast forward 12 years later, and man, it's that crowd was hot too.
Match.
Crowd was hot all night, but especially for that opening match. And I was surprised to see this match open the show.
I was too. I thought it was going to be our main event, but I think everybody did the show.
It's perfect.
It set a great pace for the rest of the show, and the rest of the show followed it.
Perfect 30-minute match, 30 minutes or so. And they don't give just everybody 30 minutes on television.
No, they don't. I mean, there's times Kenny Omega's on there and he's getting 15 minutes. So
right. So loved it. Great way to open up the show. But why don't you tell the listeners and viewers a little more details about the match itself?
Yeah. So as we know, it opened the show. I want to announce real quick. 20,177 people at Arthur Ashe Stadium, and man, not a single one of them stopped the entire night. That was one of the loudest crowds I've ever heard, and I'm so glad we got to hear it too.
Remember when Meltzer said that a promotion outside WWE couldn't sell out 10,000?
Yeah,
and look where they are now.
20,177 completely sold out.
I mean, put it this way. This company, not only did they put up with a pandemic for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
They haven't been on television in about 2 weeks. It'll be 2 full years they've been on television.
Yep.
And they just sold out a 20,000+ seat venue.
Yeah.
Incredible. Just incredible. Amazing. They're not going anywhere.
No,
they're here to stay, and
yes, they are.
I think everybody's realizing that.
Yeah. So starts out, they kind of soaked in the crowd cheering. Kenny tried to no sell it, but you could still see on his face that he was just stoked for this large crowd. It was nonstop action. I mean, there is just total chaos throughout this whole match, and it's good chaos. Danielson gets a leg kick to drop Omega down. They go back and forth in chain wrestling. Omega gets to the ropes and just stands there. So Danielson blasts him in the midsection with a kick, and out of the ring goes Omega. Omega drops Danielson down. Omega then does a cartwheel to avoid his opponent and gives a chop for good measure. Callis is barking at the fans in the front row while all this is going down. We get a Greco-Roman knuckle lock with Danielson able to work his way around to bending back on Omega's fingers. That was a nice little segment, I gotta say. I'm not a big fan of the Greco-Roman knuckle lock, but these two did a great job at it.
Yeah, and when people get fingers involved, I get a little squirmish. I just don't like bending fingers. It just makes me very uncomfortable because it hurts.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a good spot.
Omega gets sent out to the floor. Danielson with a suicide dive, sending the champ into the barricade. They get back into the ring. Danielson goes up to the top rope with a knee drop down on Omega's arm, clearly focusing on that limb. Of course, we all know why he was focusing on that limb. Omega goes to take slow things, or goes to the face to slow things down a bit. I can read tonight, I promise you. Omega chokes Danielson with his foot in the corner. Danielson's able to work his way back into the match, runs to the corner, flips back over Omega, then drops the champ with a leaping clothesline. Big running kick in the corner, followed by kicks to the chest. Omega gets put on the top rope. Danielson with a Hurricanrana cover for a 2 count. Omega does one of his own, sending Danielson out to the floor. Omega then leaps. Finally, they get back into the ring again. Danielson and Omega both try for pin attempts. Danielson's able to lock in the cattle mutilation, but Omega gets a foot on the rope fairly quickly. Omega out to the ramp, but Danielson gets on the top turnbuckle and hits a flying knee to Omega's face. Danielson with kicks to the chest, Omega with a snapdragon suplex on the ramp, and I thought the dude was done for right then and there.
Yeah, that
he
ramp
hit that and just started twitching, and I'm like, oh great, here we go. It was nice seeing you for a minute.
Yeah, the doctors were checking on him a lot, referee checking him on a lot tonight because he took some hard bumps, but it's part of the selling too.
Yep.
I mean, can I take a minute and say how red was Brian Danielson's chest tonight? My gosh,
Man.
He got lit up with some chops.
Yeah, I honestly, you would think it was like makeup or a tattoo or something.
A lot of blood flow there.
Yeah. Outside of the ring, Omega hits Danielson with a V trigger right into the back of the neck, and I said, okay, if he wasn't done before, he is now. Omega with a top rope missile drop kick cover for a 2 count.
Was that V trigger the one he leaped like 100 feet?
Yes.
Is that the one there? Yeah.
That was where he came running down the ramp and just
that was crazy.
Yeah, that was a powerful V trigger, and the fact that Danielson got back up, props to him. Neck injury or not.
Tough guy.
Danielson drops down for a cover 2. Omega with a heel kick to the spine. Omega looks for another V trigger to the back of the head in the corner. Omega puts Danielson up on the top rope, looks for a super dragon suplex. Danielson slips under and crotches Omega. Super back suplex down to the mat. Danielson's arm was trapped underneath that move, though. May have banged himself up on the move, honestly. I mean, it was interesting land, but he got back up, and we see back and forth strikes again. Bryan with a shoulder capture suplex with a bridge for the 2 count. The crowd has been hyped for this match the entire time. Both guys down, so they clap it up for the 2 of them. And I was like, okay, are we going to end this in a count out right here? I was scared.
No, it was, I was just on the edge of my seat the whole time. It had me, it capitalized my attention right away from the very beginning. They didn't even lock up for a little bit with the crowd on their feet the whole time. Dream match that we wanted to see for years that turned into an instant classic over the half an hour, the time limit they got. But yeah, like I said, the time limit draw didn't even enter my mind until they started doing the so many minutes remaining.
Yep.
So,
We hit the 25-minute mark, and we see flurries of kicks to the face. A little bell lock is attempted. Omega gets his foot on the rope before Danielson can apply it. Danielson with running knees into the corner. Omega with a V trigger. Both are hitting each other, and both go down. As commentary says, we only have 45 seconds left. Both guys on their knees throwing punches and headbutts. Danielson and Omega battle away, and the bell just rings.
yeah,
Wow.
I mean, you've covered the match pretty good there.
That was one of them. I felt it needed the extra coverage.
No, I think so. I mean, if anybody listening to this or watching this hasn't seen that match, do so as soon as you can. You will not be disappointed.
Absolutely. Post-match, Danielson tries to keep attacking Omega, but the Elite runs out and gets him away. Crowd boos as the official announcement is made that it was a time limit draw. Cole and the Young Bucks triple super kick Danielson, outruns Christian Cage and Jurassic Express to help clear the ring.
Yeah, getting everything ready for the 6-man tag on Friday Night Rampage Grand Slam between the Super Click and Jurassic Express and Christian Cage. So definitely understand it.
You've had a week to think about it. What do you think of Super Click?
I'm fine with the name. At least they got a name, I guess, for themselves.
Other than the Super Elite or the Elite.
Yeah, right. That stuff gets confusing. But a little more, I want to talk about Brian Danielson. Yeah. I know it came to light. He did a lot of media this week, especially being in New York City, hyping up the show. One thing I thought was interesting, they were talking about was entrance theme music. And they looked into getting the Final Countdown by Europe.
Ooh.
It was going to cost Tony Khan hundreds of thousands of dollars, not just 100,000, hundreds of thousands, and he could only play it 20 times a year.
Ooh.
So they decided it was not worth it.
No.
So that was why. And I believe the reason that is because I want to say the show on Fox was called Arrested Development. And there was a character on there a few years ago that did like a magic show on the show. And that was his theme, was the Final Countdown. So I think it being on Fox drove up the price. Because if I'm Europe, I'm saying, yeah, we'll charge you this much, but you can play it as much as you want because look what cult of personality, look how many downloads that has got again since CM Punk's debut at AEW. So if I'm Europe, I would say, heck yeah, you can
go do it.
Yeah, but so they didn't go with that, his Ring of Honor theme and the Flight of the Valkyries, his theme in WWE. He wanted something kind of like that, but different. So that's what happened here. And he wants one of his old chants they used to do in ROH to start again in AEW. And that's something along the lines of, you're going to get your effing head kicked in. And there's a part in right at the beginning of the song that the crowd can chant that, he said.
Okay. Well, we'll see how well that goes over.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
TNT might try to put a stop to that.
They might. But Brian Danielson's definitely different than Daniel Bryan, and this version of the American Dragon is different than any version we've seen, and I think he proved that tonight.
Oh, and I think he proved that in the post pay-per-view scrum, media scrum. I mean, he completely different on the mic then than he ever was in WWE's Brian Daniel.
He is an absolute
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan, there you go. See, I'm surprised you didn't call him Daniel Bryan at all tonight during that read. That was pretty impressive. Or Daniel Bryanson or anything like that. But Brian Danielson is a class act guy. I thought it was really neat that he came out and wrote that article, that thank you WWE article. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, you don't see a whole lot of that. They didn't end on bad terms,
unlike
a lot of the people that have left the company, or have been fired. So it was a nice little thing to see that hey, look, I do acknowledge this, but it's time for me to move on.
Yeah, he also brought up that's why he's not encouraging the yes chant.
Yeah, even though I saw somewhere that WWE is okay with the crowds doing the yes chant, and if he wants to encourage it.
I think he's going to encourage it more in his promos. If you've seen his promos and his back and forth on the mic skills with an opponent. He says stuff to get the crowd to say yes, but he doesn't. He's not doing the upward motion or anything.
Right.
So he still is tying it in a little bit, just in a newer way, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he ever brings back the no chance.
Yeah, if he goes heel eventually.
Yeah.
Flip side, let's talk about Kenny Omega a little bit. I mean, what else is there to
man.
say about this guy? 2021 has been the year of Kenny Omega.
Yep.
You know, for years, everybody knew how good he was over in Japan, but a lot of the American audience who didn't follow New Japan or even ROH a little bit, even though he's mostly New Japan, wasn't too familiar with Kenny. Well, they know who Kenny Omega is now over these past 2 years, especially this year.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, you know, he got number 1 in the top 500, which is
the PWI
thing.
Yep.
So congratulations again to him for that one. But I mean, yeah, the dude is nonstop. He is a legit wrestling machine, and I am excited to continue the year of Kenny Omega. And I never thought I'd say that, honestly.
Yeah, whenever he drops the title, he can take a little time off because he's hurt and he's fighting through injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Both these guys, I guarantee, are going to be sore tonight and tomorrow when they wake up. They put on a show for all of us, and can't wait to see him running back again.
Yeah, Bree's probably going to be yelling at Bryan quite a lot tonight.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, I think she understood. I mean, it's his first in-ring match for AEW. He wasn't going to leave anything on the table.
You and I were on the edge of our seat when he got that suplex on the ramp. Could you imagine her reaction?
Sure.
Oh man, that would have had to have been hectic.
But he's working with one of the safest workers in the world. So
Yep. Kenny Omega knows how to do it every single time and not hurt you.
That's why he's the best.
Yes. After an epic 30-minute match, we get CM Punk.
Speaking of the best.
I don't even think the commentators realized that this was up next because Excalibur was sitting there talking, later tonight we're going to, wait, CM Punk's up next. So I think they were still wrapped up in the great match that had just taken place.
How can you not be?
I know. So we go to commercial break, come back, Cult of Personality hits. The crowd goes wild, as usual. The fans definitely wanted him to do a stage dive again, but he didn't feel comfortable with that gap in between.
He doesn't need to do it every week either.
No, just occasionally. And not just in Chicago. Let's do it outside Chicago like we've seen.
I should say the interesting thing tonight, we forgot to mention, the whole crowd fully vaccinated tonight. You had to be to get in. So
I mean, that's 20,117 people fully vaccinated.
So if he was ever worried about doing that on a stage dive because of that reason, he didn't need to worry about tonight.
Yeah, I just think that gap was just too concerning for him.
Sure. Not worth it.
Cuts a great promo, as Punk always does. He talks about the amazing match that we just saw, and he says, I'm so glad I'm not wrestling on Dynamite, because how do you follow up from that?
And that's why I think they placed this promo right here. It's perfect timing, because nobody wanted to follow up that match with their match.
No. He goes on to talk about the fact that, they want the pissed off Punk back, and he says, I can't help it. I smile every time I come out here. I'm so happy to be here. I soak it all in, and maybe we do have a little love fest going on when I'm out here. And then turns his attention to Powerhouse Hobbs, says, you should have finished the job and put me through the table. You should have made it so that Cult of Personality doesn't play Friday night on Rampage.
Yeah, no, really good. Did what it needed to do. Hyped up the match Friday night. What do you think main events Friday night? You think that match main events Friday night?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It may open it because of the fact that it's a 2-hour Rampage.
Yeah.
So they want to get that in case the fans start to doze off.
And get the audience that might cross over from SmackDown right away.
Yep. Absolutely. As Punk's heading back to the back, he hugs co-star Stephen Amell from Heels.
Yeah. If you haven't checked out Heels, go check it out. 6 episodes in, it's awesome.
I haven't yet.
Yeah, you need to do that.
I don't have stars. I'm trying to convince myself to get stars.
I got it just for the series, and once the series is over, I'm canceling it. But
But then they might come out with season 2, and then you gotta.
I'll re-up that when season 2 comes out.
Yeah, I keep getting like I'll get on Facebook and all my advertisements are either HBO Max, TNT, or Heels on Stars. Get 3 months free. And then I'm like, okay, and it's going to take 3.5 months to get through the whole season. So yeah, it's
pretty darn good, though. I will say he's good in it.
Stephen Amell's great. Punk's great. Stephen Amell, let's not forget, has been in the ring.
Yes.
Outside of Heels.
Yes. So, WWE and Allin, both.
Yep. Good friends with Cody. Good friends with Punk now. So maybe one day Amell will be All Elite.
Maybe.
Up next, we get MJF with Wardlow versus Brian Pillman Jr. with Julia Hart. Your thoughts going into this match?
Oh, I think I agreed with what you texted me. Going in this match, walking down the ramp, I'm like, this would be good for Wardlow to turn or plant another seed in the Wardlow turn. Didn't quite happen.
No, we didn't get any of that acknowledgement. I forgot Wardlow was with him through part of the match because the cameras didn't catch him much, and he just stood in one spot the entire time.
Yep.
Towards the end of the match, MJF is really beating up on Pillman Jr., yells, "Where's your boy?" Pillman with some chops heads up to the top and nails MJF with a high crossbody. Pillman arm is banged up, though, from this entire match. I do want to mention he grabbed that arm several times throughout it. Hits a clothesline, then a thrust kick. MJF gets sent into the turnbuckle and 9 times. Did you count that?
Yep. Yep.
He does fight off the 10th, charges in, and takes a spinning power slam. MJF rolls out to the floor. Pillman looks for a dive, but MJF pulls Hart in front of him. He shoves her to Pillman and then clocks Pillman. Typical heel move. That is anytime a face comes down with a female of any sort, you know she's going to be involved by the heel.
Yep.
Hart throws down her pom-poms, yells at MJF. MJF gets slapped in the face, and he grabs her wrist. Pillman with a drop kick through the ropes.
Beautiful drop kick.
Yes, and high fives Hart. Pillman looks for a springboard, but MJF catches him with salt of the earth. And there you have it. Tap out.
That's why he was working that arm.
Yep.
I know some people out there thought Pillman should go over in this match. That would have really surprised me. Would have been a huge push for the guy. I think he's got a great future in AEW. I don't think he's ready to go over MJF just yet. They're very selective who goes over MJF. But good match.
I thought put Jericho over MJF. Come on now.
Right. But I thought Pillman is a bigger star now after the match than he was going into the match. So I think the result did what it needed to do.
Yes, absolutely. I give MJF a lot of props for that. He is helping put over that other talent because he knows as a heel, he's over.
Right.
He doesn't want to try to get over as a face. So he's, I'll just help these other guys a little bit. That's why he's the salt of the earth.
Yep. The best heel in the business.
Backstage, Alex Marvez talks with Jericho and Hager about their match on Friday against Men of the Year.
Yeah, just typical Hager and Jericho stuff. I didn't do much for me.
No, it really didn't. And Jericho was like spaced out, smiling into the camera the whole time, shirtless.
Hager's talking about spanking them, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. This would have worked better with Sammy, in my opinion. You would expect something like that from Sammy, Les Sex Gods. But Hager, I
get the Hager tie-in to the story with the MMA guys, but that's about it.
Yeah, but Hager's not good on the mic. He never has been. He's always had a mouthpiece. The best thing he's ever said, and he didn't even get a microphone when he said it, was "We the people," which is dead because that was bad creative.
Yep. I don't know. I'm not a big Jake Hager guy, so
no, neither am I. Malakai Black, Cody Rhodes is up next.
Yeah, I was at the 9:00 slot. Interesting.
Yeah, because we were just talking if they were gonna be the main event, and then they pop up, and I'm like, well, guess not.
Yep. Malakai gets a big pop for his entrance. It's always so cool to see. Cody Rhodes comes out right when his music starts. Crowds erupts and boos. Arn Anderson comes out, first time we've seen Arn in a while. Brandy comes out, first time we've seen her on TV in months.
Yeah.
Prior to when she had her baby, really since she got pregnant.
Right.
But yeah, this match was a longer match than I thought it would be. I thought they might go with a Malakai squash, but it was an enjoyable match. I thought a match that was really good. And even though I'm a big Cody fan, I am even wearing a Cody shirt tonight. As I'm gonna move.
Yeah, there you go. Your mic. I was gonna say you gotta
move that way for everybody watching on you.
Yeah.
But I think the result was correct. I think Malakai needed to win this. Keep pushing him as a monster heel. So.
And the way he did it was great too.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah,
a little bit. Interesting though. Arn out one side of the tunnel, Brandy out the other. Brandy came out too quick because I watched her walk up and went, "Hey, Brandy's back."
I didn't. Yeah, I knew they came out of both tunnels, but I don't know. The heel face tunnel thing is kind of losing its luster for me. It seems like it seems like depending on the venue, one comes out one side, the other comes out the other. So it's like whatever at this point.
It's gone.
Yeah,
it'll be a Daly's Place exclusive, I think.
Well, Daly's only had one tunnel.
Oh yeah.
So it was pre-pandemic thing, really.
Yeah. There we go. Pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
So. I don't remember.
No, we had matches in Daly's Place for over a year, so we got used to that. So.
Yeah. As you said, Brandy's back, Arn's back. It's a back and forth match, which really surprised me. I really, Cody
I just can't believe how against Cody this crowd was.
Oh my Lord. There were some cheers.
Some, yeah,
but they were buried by the boos.
Maybe he goes against what he said all along. Maybe he eventually turns heel. Then what would the crowd do?
I don't know, because he came out in an interview. I don't know when the article was from, but I recently saw it, and he said he refuses to turn heel.
I know.
So,
but the crowd, the AEW crowd and fan base doesn't look at Malakai Black like a heel. They always cheer the guy.
Yeah, he's one of those Stone Cold Steve Austin heels, or Kane, or Undertaker, or anything like that. You got those select bad guys who are always going to be cheered no matter what they do, and I think Malakai Black is one of those.
Yeah, it's just he's got a cool persona, cool moveset, great entrance.
Yep.
Cheer for him.
My favorite part of the entire match was pretty early on. Cody gets outside the ring. Black goes for a fake leap, moonsaults back into the middle of the ring, sits down in that little pose he does. Brandy slides in, sits the exact same way, and just flips him off.
Gives him the double bird, and you can read her lips. F you, she says.
Yep.
Edgy Brandy is back.
I love Edgy Brandy. I do got to say, props.
Did you know, Paul, that they have a new show debuting next week? Did you catch that tonight?
Do they? I think it's called Rhodes to the Top.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it's like all backstage stuff involving their life, which all the marks on the internet are saying are going to get less than 100,000 views.
I mean, I'll tune in. I'm looking forward to it, but I get it.
No,
I think that's. I'll tune in on DVR.
There we go.
I'll tune in either way. That's the reason I think why Cody gets so much backlash. He's doing that. He's doing the Go Big show. He's doing so many projects outside of AEW, but I think he's back for a while.
I think so too. Back and forth match throughout most of it. Glad Arn's okay. He got up on the top rope or on the ring and fell. I didn't know. I thought because they cheered when he fell because there was a good move that happened at that exact moment. So I'm like, okay, did somebody just come out of the crowd and grab Arn? because he was just in camera enough that you just see him just.
I'll give Shivani props there. He explained what happened.
Yes.
Because a lot of times promotions will just act like nothing happened or make up something that try to make it storyline based. And it just slipped. Happens. It's live television.
Yep. And, props to Brandy for making sure he's okay.
Yep. And the ref, too.
Yeah.
Paul Turner.
Yep. Props to Cody and Malakai for continuing the match to continue to drag out just a little bit, but still set up for that spot that Arn was going for.
Yeah, and then the interesting spot, like you said, then it happened right after that, and the bump wasn't that good. It was Cody running into him on accident, and Arn shoving him, telling him, "Don't worry about me. Go get your opponent." Yeah. So that didn't go over as well because he slipped, but it is what it is.
And I think that's why Cody went softer on that bump. Sure. Because he had just taken
just
a bump.
In case he might have hurt himself,
Yeah.
Accidentally falling. So
yeah. And during all of this, Black's on the other side of the ring, under the ring, halfway. Cody grabs him, throws him back in. Cody doesn't want to win this by count out. He wants to beat the man if he can. And then we get a black mist to Cody's face. Did not see that coming.
Well, before all this, Cody hit a Cody cutter followed by a crossroads, and Malakai kicked out.
Yeah. Yes, he did. I jumped to the orange spot. That was
that's all right.
Kind of a uh-oh spot. So
that's all right. But the black mist, to Jerry not green.
I know, and not as big either.
Right.
Jerry always made it this huge thing, and Black was just like, hey, bye. There you go. We're done. 1, 2, 3. So
Cody looked like, what the heck just happened?
I know.
So are we done with this, or are we going to see him yet again? Because if we get a third, I don't know if Malakai can go over him 3 times, but he's went over the whole Nightmare family.
For the most part.
Who am I forgetting?
I don't know. There's he hasn't faced 10 yet, who's technically a member of the family.
Yeah, 10's got other stuff going on, and
Fuego.
I'm not counting Stephen Amell. Yeah, Fuego. He already kicked his head off, remember? So he technically went through him already. So I don't know. I don't know what could be next for him, but I wouldn't mind him moving on to something else already.
Absolutely, I would. I'd be okay with that. Cody come back, do Cody things, and move Black on. We get a little vignette for Miro versus Sammy Guevara next week for the AEW TNT Championship.
I wish the TNT title was either tonight or Friday. I guess the Lucha Bros aren't putting up the tag team titles, but I was going to say really the only title that was up for grabs was the women's title, but I don't know. I felt like there was a place for it.
I don't know. I don't know why you don't do it unless there's something big next week that we don't know about yet since it's September 29th. But hey, what do I know?
In Rochester, the home of Brody Lee.
Yeah. I do think next week we're going to get something to honor Brody during the show that they're not going to talk about ahead of time.
I think that's no doubt.
After the vignette, which I really wish Sammy would win. I text you that, but
no, I'm a big Sammy guy too. He's got to get gold eventually.
Yeah,
probably 2022.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Miro's been so great as champion. I don't know, but Sammy's one of the guys. If whoever's going to take it off him, I've always said Jungle Boy, but maybe it is Sammy.
Yeah, Jungle Boy, Sammy. Either one of them, I'd be fine with.
Yep.
Up next, we get some tag action. FTR, Tully Blanchard versus Sting and Darby Allin.
FTR wearing the NWO-inspired gear, loved it against Sting, who's arguably the NWO's greatest rival. Thought that was fantastic.
And he even had the red on tonight.
Yep. I thought, this was a fun match. I love how FTR incorporates that type of stuff into their gear now and then. Pays homage to, these guys grew up watching Sting, and now they're in the AEW's biggest Dynamite ever.
Yep.
across the ring from Sting. Just got to be in front of 20,000. It's got to be a surreal feeling.
Oh, absolutely. And, Tully, even in black and white tonight, it felt great. It felt a little bit like the 90s.
Yeah.
But
fun.
It was a good 90s.
Very fun match. I was surprised by the result, though.
You were.
I was. I thought last week I said FTR was going to win.
That
was our difference.
Oh no, you're right. That was our difference. Yeah. Yeah. Lots of back and forth action throughout this. Lots of good spots.
Love the coffin drop spot.
Oh man,
thought that was awesome.
Darby's going to take himself out with that one of these days, and I don't mean in a good way.
I also love the separate entrances with Sting and Darby, right. So they both got their own pops. I thought that was very smart.
Oh yeah.
Interesting. FTR came out to the Pinnacle music instead of their own.
Yeah, and even though dressed in the black and white, they didn't necessarily acknowledge that it was NWO. They said a new stage in their career or something like that is what commentary said. But anybody who watched in the 90s knew that was NWO.
Yeah, Sting got a good shot on Tully during the match. That was cool to see. Did. Sting wins by the Scorpion Deathlock. Very fun. I gotta be honest though.
Spot.
I'm surprised we haven't seen Sting lose a match yet.
I think it's coming.
He just keeps winning. And I know it's only September, but we're creeping up on October. A couple months, it's got to be years since Sting debuted in the company, and Darby's been by his side the whole time.
Yep. Are we going to get that turn?
I don't think so, but I think eventually we'll get a split. Like, you don't need me anymore, kid, or something.
I think we need that.
Yeah.
I think we're already at that point. I love Sting and Darby together. They have great chemistry. They work well off of each other. Very similar styles, apart from the coffin drop.
I was going to say Sting can't do anything from the top rope, but...
apart from that...
Yeah, and the crazy suicide dies. Toby Suicidas.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Similar.
Yeah.
Similar. But yeah, I think it's time Sting says, it's time for you to go on your own. I'll always be there if you need me, but you go do you. I'm going to go do me.
Yep. It's, because I don't know what's next for these guys.
I don't either.
Unless it's maybe they take a shot at tag team titles eventually because they just knocked off a team that's in the top 5.
Maybe. Would that be Sting's first tag team gold?
No.
I'm making you think.
No. He had some in WCW at one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, when I came in,
when he was part of the Wolfpack.
Okay. See, I didn't make it that far in.
I think it might have been even him and Scott Hall. I could be remembering that incorrectly because when it comes to NWO, I can't keep track of who was in and who was out. And at times there was like a million
Everybody
people.
In WCW was in it. And then
except DDP.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And Goldberg.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Yeah.
Of course, he didn't get along with Nash, and that was part of the reason, since,
right.
Nash beat him.
Right. Right. Yeah, we could do a whole podcast on WCW. Maybe we will someday, but not tonight.
Yeah, no, not tonight. Not tonight. It's getting late. Yeah, Sting and Darby win with the submission from Sting with the Scorpion Deathlock.
Cool for Sting to have that moment in front of 20,000.
It was.
This week was the anniversary of Night of Champions 2015. So
okay,
6 years ago when he took that buckle bomb against Seth Rollins. So
which
6 years later,
why they put him over.
6 years later, it's pretty cool. And FTR, I guarantee you, they went to Tony and said, "Put the legend over."
Yeah, we don't want to win.
Right.
Yep. We get recap from Britt Baker Ruby Soho's promo last week on Rampage.
That was the best thing on Rampage last week, I thought.
That was a great promo. We see Friday's Rampage lineup: Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford, Moxley and Kingston versus Archer and Suzuki. There we go. I had it.
Minoru
Suzuki.
A minute.
Tag team champion Lucha Bros taking on Santana or with Santana and Ortiz versus Private Party and the Butcher and the Blade. At least we're getting Santana and Ortiz in New York.
Absolutely. And it gets another popular team. So with another popular team, I mean.
Jericho and Hager versus Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky.
Men of the Year with Lambert.
Yeah. Adam Cole, the Young Bucks versus Christian Cage and Jurassic Express. And, of course, CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, I think a lot of these are predictable matches, but it still should be a fun time.
It's going to be a great show.
And stay off social media tonight and tomorrow and the rest of the week because there will be spoilers because they are taping it now as we're recording this. They're taping it from 10 to midnight tonight. So,
yeah.
That's the worst thing about Rampage is it's not actually live every week, but I get it. With the logistics, it's too hard to do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that would be a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Up next, the main event. Finally, the Women's World Championship match. The women main event in AEW, like Kenny Omega promised us 2 years ago.
Yep. Britt's done it a couple times.
Yep. Well, this one was sanctioned, so.
True.
Back and forth, Ruby, Soho, DMD chants throughout the crowd, throughout this match. Action-packed match. There were points I thought we were getting us a new champion.
Oh, I definitely. That's why the end result surprised me because I'm thinking all night when we found out this was indeed going to be the main event. I'm thinking, okay, either we're getting a new champion or somebody's debuting.
Yeah.
We didn't get either. And even the way the match was going, Ruby was kicking out of everything. So I'm like, she's going to end up winning this match. They threw me for a loop. Wasn't the case.
Yep.
Which is the right case. I don't think it's time to take the belt off Britt. So.
Right. And as good as Ruby Soho is, especially now that she's got that creative control to do what she wants with her character, it's not time yet. Let the fans get more anticipation.
I forgot how talented she was because it's been so long since I've seen her work in the ring. But I love how she was fired from WWE in her first singles. I think it's her first singles in ring competition. I know she's had tag matches, but I think it's her first singles match. She main events, arguably the biggest Dynamite in the show's history. Just unbelievable.
Yep. Towards the end of the match, Soho sends Baker into the corner with an enziguri. Soho climbs up to the top rope, jumps, hits a pin, 2 count. Baker with a neck breaker, thrust kick to the face, cover, 2 count. Baker up to the top rope. Soho smacks her, looks to suplex Baker out to the floor. Hater and Rebel yelling not to do it. Soho and Baker battling their way to the corner. Soho gets captured and takes a super backdrop, I guess. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the proper term. I guess we'll just go the air raid crash. So, yeah, that was an epic spot. I was glad to see a good spot like that from these two ladies. Baker looks for a kick while standing on the steps outside of the ring. Soho catches it, but Baker slams her face down on the steps. Not something we've seen too much of from Soho in her previous runs.
No.
So she definitely was out of her, I don't want to say comfort zone, but out of what she's used to doing. Soho hits the no future and goes for a pin, but Rebel gets up on the ropes, distracts her. So she takes a no future too. Hater on the apron now, ducks a punch, yanks Soho down over the top rope. Baker drops her and applies the lockjaw for the win.
Yeah, so still keeps Ruby looking strong, even though she tapped out because it took three women to take her down. So I'm all for it. What's next for Dr. Britt Baker?
Well, there's a couple women on the roster still she hasn't faced, but I think sooner or later we're going to see Baker Thunder Rosa again.
That's got to be Full Gear, I'm thinking. It's got to be. It's time to pull the trigger on it.
I wouldn't mind waiting till January at least, and then letting Thunder Rosa win it. End the year with Baker's champ, kick the new year off with a new champ.
Yeah, because Thunder Rosa, I feel like they're underutilizing the gal right now, and she's too talented to be doing that.
I mean, she's picking up win after win on Dark and Elevation,
Yeah,
but
I know.
if you don't watch those, you don't know that.
I know, and I've been really bad about watching those. I thought I'd watch them a lot more
Me
than
too.
I do when they kicked off, and it's just, I'm glad they're actually shooting most of them now in Universal. That's nice. I think it needs a home like that because I don't know. I just can't get into them.
They've already done a whole season's worth, as they said, a season's worth. So, I mean, lots of Dark. And now the good thing is, unless you were at Universal, you don't know what happened until you either watch it or see it scroll across the screen on Dynamite.
Right. Yep.
So, nice little way to avoid some spoilers there.
Yep. Were you surprised we didn't get any debuts tonight?
I was expecting at least one. I didn't know who it was going to be. I'm not counting Brandy returning as any type of debut. But yeah,
it's not a debut. It'd be a return.
Well, okay, or any other return.
Any surprise, big surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured Cody was back. Brandy was going to be by his side.
I don't think we get any big surprises Friday as far as debuts either. I just think they're two solid shows.
Yeah, because I mean, they know not to do it now because people are going to spoil it on social media.
Oh, that's a good point.
So they're going to wait until at least next Wednesday in Rochester on September 29th. Just saying.
Yeah, maybe somebody's day clause is up. Maybe not. I don't know. I haven't read anything lately about certain individuals.
His Twitter, that certain individuals' Twitter is pretty much stopped. Apart from a congratulations to Big E.
Yes.
Where he even apologized for being late to the trend.
Yes.
So.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I think we'll find out more clues on BTE, honestly. Because I feel if you watch BTE, I feel we kind of got something.
Silver and Reynolds are going to look for a friend.
They're not recruiting. They're looking for a friend.
Yeah, a new friend.
And it's not going to be the best friends.
Nope.
That thing is just too weird now. Now that we've got 4 of them? Yeah. Something like that. 5 of them?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Trent's mom, Orange Cassidy, Chucky T, Chris Statlander, and Wheeler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or not Wheeler. Wow. I don't know the guy's name.
Wheeler Yuta. Yeah, you're right.
Is it Wheeler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got it right.
Yeah. All right, Paul. 0 to 10. What do you give this episode of Dynamite? Grand Slam.
I don't know if you'll be surprised by this or not, but I'm giving it a solid 9.5.
That's the same grade I was going to give it.
There was one weird spot after towards the end of the show before the women's match when they said debut. They showed the vignette, and then I think there was supposed to still be something more. Instead, they went to the crowd, and it was really weird camera angles.
I didn't really have any problem with the production. I thought all the matches were good and entertaining. Because usually there's at least one match I'm not really into. I thought all matches were great. Aren't slipping, but that happens. It's live TV. One of my only complaints, and I like JR, so I'm not trying to get on him too much, but there was too many times during the matches, that's got to be it. That's got to be it. And then I'm like, okay, they're going to kick out. Like, you're already telling me they're going to kick out. Like, if it's going to be it, you're not going to say anything, So little things like that kind of get on my nerves.
Yeah, well, JR's still recuperating from the weekend, I think. Even though that was a pre-taped episode, I think he's gotten a lot of tweets here in the last
everybody who was on Dark Side Arena last week has, I think.
Yeah, that you went further than I did. I was just gonna.
No, I'll say it. I don't want to talk about it. I think it's been nauseism, and I could talk a whole hour about it. I don't want to.
The show was an hour long. What do you expect?
Yeah, I love Dark Side Arena. I think it's one of the best, not only wrestling documentary I've ever seen. It's one of the best documentary series I've ever seen. I watch it every week.
That was the first one I had ever seen.
What?
Yeah.
Man, there's
I
so
know.
many good
I'm
ones you need to go
terrible.
watch.
I have Vice. It's on demand. I was already looking at all those going,
You're a
okay, I
busy
need to
guy.
watch
You're a
Benoit
busy guy.
1 and 2. I need to watch Pillman. I need to watch that
Oh,
one. I
there's
need
so
to
many
watch
good
that
ones.
one.
So many good ones. And there's going to be some other good ones coming up. Chris Canyon tomorrow night's going to be fantastic.
Yep.
So it's just, I like how they tell their stories, but that, Plane Ride from Hell was very interesting.
Oof. Yeah. Yeah. Now I had seen the WWE Stories version of that.
Sure. Which is now off.
Yeah.
They pulled it.
Quickly pulled.
Yeah, they did the right thing. They pulled all that stuff. Pulled Ric Flair, which like I said, I'm not getting into this, but they pulled Ric Flair from their intro opening thanks to their episodes. So
Yep. But other than that, go watch Dark Side of the Ring if you haven't yet. Don't be like me and only see one episode.
No, it's fantastic. Go watch it.
So, Wrestler of the Night, Tanner. This is hard.
I'm not going to do it. What I want to do is give it both to Brian Danielson, almost did it, and Kenny Omega, because instant classic. I really want to, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it going of picking one wrestler of the night. I'm going to give it to Malakai Black.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give it to Sting.
Okay.
So he got that good finisher. I enjoyed it. It was a solid match. My favorite part was him stopping himself from hitting that chair and then hitting Tully. So,
and Malakai, I believe, is the first guy to go over Cody twice.
Yeah.
AEW. So, if I remember correctly,
Brody
twice.
No, Brody only went once. Never mind.
Cody came back and got revenge.
Yeah, never mind.
MJF's only got him once.
Yeah.
So,
congratulations to Malakai Black.
Yeah.
I think this is a thing we're going to
correct.
And I think that's something we're going to start seeing more and more of. I think we're going to see less wins in Cody's side.
Well, that's why I would like them to do a story, but it would kind of be heelish where like he keeps racking up losses and he just goes to a dark place. Yeah. And then has to work his way back up. But
yeah, it wouldn't necessarily have to be heelish. You know, he's tired of losing, so he goes out and reinvents himself, maybe comes back with the dark hair again.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like that did kind of, and it was in Daly's place during the pandemic. I feel like that flopped so bad for a lot of the fans. They didn't understand what he was trying to do.
I didn't right off the bat until you brought it up to me, and then I went back and read the comic because the animated versions of it don't do it justice. The comic does it justice. And once I reread the comic, okay, I got the reference.
Right. And I wouldn't have known about that unless I read it online. So,
yeah. Or does he do a variation of Stardust?
God, I hope not.
Maybe not to that extent.
I hated that character. I'm sorry, I did. I hated it.
I think in AEW that character would have been a lot better.
Yeah, the interesting thing is AEW doesn't really have. I mean, they have Abaddon.
Yeah,
they don't really have any like. You know what I'm trying to say?
Crazy like characters.
That's why fit. If Bray Wyatt comes to AEW, I think he should be more like his Swamp character, Swamp Family character or something. Because
the Wyndham.
Yeah, because if he does the Fiend or something like the Fiend, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that fits Impact better than it does AEW. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see what happens.
Nope. I do want to give a shout out. I'm wearing a new hat tonight, a KOP hat. This hat is by Hofstitch, and you can find them on Instagram at Hofstitch_leather. They not only can make hats, they make wallets, belts, all type of leather goods. He can make whatever you need. So just DM him. But like I said, he's just starting to make hats. Made this great KOP one for me. So he can make you one just like this. If you want a different color, different stamp, he can do that too. So get a hold of him on Instagram. That's at Hofstitch_leather. Shout out to Chris Hoffman for making me this hat. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And speaking of KOP merch, don't forget to go to prowrestlingtees.com and order your KOP merchandise. You get to support a great podcast, support us, and you get to look stylish while doing so.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We have 5 different designs you can choose from on there, all different sizes, a few different colors. So yeah, support our podcast. We'd really appreciate it. And like Paul said, look great doing so.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts for tonight, Tanner?
Oh, just a fun show. I've been looking forward to this Arthur Ashe show for months since it was announced. Glad it happened. What a cool venue for a wrestling show. I know Tony Khan said this week he hopes this is an annual thing they can do every year. Grand Slam at Arthur Ashe. That'd be pretty cool. New York City was hot for their first AEW show. I still think New York City is the number one wrestling market in the U.S. I know a lot of people want to argue Chicago, and I think Chicago's great, and they're a close number 2. But New York City is king when it comes to wrestling, in my opinion. Madison Square Garden, it'd be great if AEW can run there someday, but this was pretty darn cool. And they're going to be in Long Island on December 8th, so they're going to be coming back to the area. So just a fun show over and all. Like I said, I think it was the best Dynamite I've seen to date.
Okay. One final question for you.
Yes.
Can AEW sell out the Garden?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they could.
All right.
Yeah.
Wanted to make sure we were on the same page there.
Yeah, I think they could.
After selling out Arthur Ashe, I have no doubts they can sell out anywhere they go at this point.
I think 2022 might be a little early for it, but gosh, they're growing so fast, so rapidly, faster than I think anybody anticipated. I think they got to start looking at bigger venues for the pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Oh,
I think they have to.
I mean, over 1 million people have bought the CM Punk shirt since his debut. So
yeah. I mean, I know they like to run, all out at the Now Arena. And I would like them to see them run Double or Nothing next year in MGM, just because they've only got to do it there once in Vegas. But what's to say soon they can't do it in Legion Stadium where SummerSlam was held.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big. That's real big. But I think eventually they're going to have to pick which pay-per-view is kind of their version of WrestleMania and run a big stadium show there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But Rampage will be fun Friday night. So check that out. We will not be doing a podcast after that, but we'll be back next Wednesday after the Rochester Dynamite, the September 29th. So,
and don't forget, Rampage is 2 hours this Friday night, 10 to midnight. That's a good point. So be sure to catch a cat nap before Rampage starts if you got to get up early. It's a great time to be a pro wrestling fan, and more specifically, a great time to be a fan of All Elite Wrestling. Absolutely.
This has been a fun year, and I don't think we're anywhere close to the end yet.
No, we're not. And with that being said, for Tanner Lee, I'm Paul Zartman. Be sure to follow the Kicking Out Podcast on all social media at Kicking Out Pod. Go follow Tanner Lee at Tanner Lee 92 on all social media. Follow myself at Paul Zartman 921 on all social media. Join us again next Wednesday as we kick out yet another podcast.